Welcome back. This is lesson 5 in our organic chem unit. Today we are going to just practice naming different compounds with functional groups. So yesterday we talked about all the different functional groups, how the reference table is used for this. And now we're just kind of gonna have to practice some of these questions. So remember, all these functional groups are on the reference table. There's a whole page dedicated to it. So you're going to need that to help you. Again, with these practice question videos, it makes the most sense if you try these questions on your own and then watch this video to go over the questions that you are struggling with. Just a heads up on dates. It looks like CAST Learning number 22, functional groups, is due tonight. Just make sure you are following the calendar and whatever other announcements your teacher has for you. So let's get started. Number 1, it says, given the formula for an organic compound, this is classified as, again, you need to find your functional group. So table R, I believe, is the functional group table. And so here you want to find something that matches exactly. And the more practice you do, the easier it will become. But that right there is your functional group. And that is the organic acid. And that makes answer choice D your answer. And not asking for names, just want you to find what functional group is there. Number 2 says, what's the total number of carbon atoms in a molecule of ethanoic acid? So if you wanted to draw that, you can. No one's going to stop you. But you don't need to. All you need to know is that eth means 2 carbons. And that's from table P. So 2 carbons is all you need for that one. Next says, given these 3 formulas, what functional groups do we have? So right here in number 3, and in the first one, this is a ketone. So remember, a ketone is a C with a double bond O somewhere in the middle of your compound. Here, at the end, we have the COOH, a Cu group. That is an acid. And then here on the third one, we have that OH. And that is an alcohol. And in that order, ketone, acid, alcohol is choice D. Again, once you get in the hang of this, it will be easier, but you do really need to use your reference table. Okay. Number 4, we want to find an alcohol and an acid. So again, you need to use the reference table to find the functional groups that you have. In A, you have a C double bond O at the end, and that's the aldehyde. B, you have the Cu group, that makes it the acid, the C double bond O, OH. Choice C has a double bond O in the middle, that is a ketone. And then answer choice D has that OH, and that is the alcohol. So again, the question asks for alcohol and acid. So we need B and D, and that is answer choice C. Number 5 says, what is the name given to the thing in the box? So like we had said, I think in the first lesson, was that each of these lines represent that there are H's attached to them. So they didn't write all the H's. That's fine, as long as you do have that line so you know something's coming off of it. So when we're looking at this box, we have 2 carbon. We know it's a branch because it's not part of the longest chain. And 2 carbons is eth. And when it's a branch, you have the YL ending, making it answer choice B. Okay. Number 6, it says, what is the name of this? So your first thing is to figure out what functional group you have using the reference table. And that is this right there. AC double bond O at the end of your compound. That is an aldehyde. And so now you have to name it. And again, naming anything starts with naming your longest carbon chain first. So we have 3 carbons, which is prop. And then in between our carbons, we have single bonds rather. So AN. We're going to drop off the E again when we name functional group endings. And then the ending for aldehydes is AL. So now this is propanal. Okay, not other things. Propanal. And then because aldehydes are always at the end, you don't need to give it a number. So answer choice B is fine. D represents a ketone, C represents an alcohol, A represents a normal alkane chain. Number 7 is, what is the name of this? So we got to figure out, well, first we can see that it's not a straight hydrocarbon. So we have to figure out what functional group is there. So you have that C double bond O somewhere in the middle. That is a ketone. Our next step is to figure out and name the longest chain of carbons. That is 4. So that is but, not but. In between the carbons, we have single bonds. So we can write AN. Again, when we're naming functional groups, most of the time we drop off that last E. And then the ending for ketones is O-N-E. Now normally you do add the location of the double bond O. So in this case, the smallest carbon would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Would be 2-butanone. But the answer choices didn't even go that far into detail. They just want you to know it is a ketone. Number A is the name for aldehydes. B would be if it was an alcohol. And D is what it would be if it was an acid. Number 8, I cannot count, says what represents a molecule of 2-chlorobutane. So if we break down this name, but means you have 4 carbons. Ane, get a different color, means you have single bonds. Chloro means there's a chlorine somewhere. And 2 is the location of that Cl. So we need 4 carbons. So that gets rid of choice C and choice D. And we need one chlorine, so we have it there and we have it there. We gotta take into account the location. That's what LOC stands for, location. So in answer choice A, if you start at the smallest number, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. The chlorine is at the smallest number, that would be 1 chlorobutane. Choice B has it on the second carbon, so that is 2 chlorobutane. Again, breaking it up piece by piece. Number 9 says which class of compounds contains elements in group 17. Group 17, remember, is called the halogens. So the functional group, when you add a halogen to a compound, it is halide. So generally it's the chlorine, iodine, bromine, and stuff like that. Okay. Number 10 says ethanoic acid and butanol can react to produce water and something else. So we know ethanoic acid is an acid. Butanol, because of the OL, is an alcohol. And when you have an acid and an alcohol, by definition, you get an ester. So the exact mechanism behind how that works is on the slide from yesterday, I believe. But what you should know, acid plus alcohol gives you ester and water. Number 11, again, same kind of question. When you get an organic acid and an alcohol, by definition, you get an ester. Just be careful you're watching the spelling of the words, because ether and ester, they start the same, they end the same. They just have like a one letter swap difference. So be careful that you're actually reading these traces carefully. Number 12. This is which compound contains nitrogen. So there are only two functional groups with nitrogen. They are amides and amines. And so now you want to figure out which one of these two antitraces is your answer. And amine is the only one, so C is your answer. Number 13 says this compound is classified as a, you got to figure out what functional group we have. Oops. So this entire thing in blue is your functional group, and that is an amide. This is, I think, one of the biggest functional groups that we have. Number 14, which is classified as an ether. Remember, in ether, you have a carbon chain on either side of an O. So if it helps, we give you the condensed formulas. So the reference table does have condensed formulas for these different things. But if you wanted to take a second to draw them, you could as well. So answer choice A, we have C, H, H, H. Have another H and a double bond O. And so that is an aldehyde. That's not our answer. B, we have C, O, C, H, 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 like that. And so here we have a carbon chain on either side of an O. So this is an ether. To continue drawing some of these, answer choice C is C, 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 double bond O, H, 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 like that. And here is your ketone. And then answer choice D is looks like that. And this functional group right here is an ester. So your answer is answer choice B. You could also just kind of tell from the condensed formula, you have one O in the middle of two different functional groups. And lastly, number 15. This compound is represented by, again, you have two carbon chains on either side of an ether. So it is an ether. Again, that's it for today. Yeah, that's it. Just make sure you're following up to date with the CASEL learnings. And that is it. Have a wonderful day.